because suicide by cop, that it was him pointing the vape cigarette that we know is now a cigarette. It wasn't a gun. It wasn't even a weapon, and that would be probable reason for a cause for the killing. So we're coming out now. We're saying from National Action Network and the Olango Village will speak, and then I think Mr. Olango, the Olango Village, I think Pastor Modi should open us up in prayer. We will address the next steps, being National Action Network, and I hope that you will join us. I know you don't know what those next steps are, so I don't want to say that everybody is, because we're coming out with the next steps. But if you'll join us, then we will. What our next steps will be is we're going to the governor, and we're saying we want a special prosecutor on this case. In New York, the same thing happened with Governor Andrew Cuomo. He appointed a special prosecutor on the Garner case, which made a huge difference for that case and allowed them to, it then allowed where we're now at, where there's going to be a prosecution for this cop. It took 3 years, but they got it. And I think that justice for us is not just the family getting paid, because they're going to get paid. They're going to get something out from the city. But we want the officer prosecuted. He needs to be prosecuted, not just because of this incident. If it was just alone this incident, that would be enough. But he's got a history of sexual harassment in the department that we know about, because our attorney has been filing that lawsuit already. So we're going to hit him from every angle. And we're coming out today to say this movement is not dead. This is going to be, we're calling for protests. I'm calling for several protests to happen. And I'll call for peaceful protests. But we're going to call for protest and folks to speak out to ensure that this DA, Bonnie Dumanis, does not think she's going to get away with this by one long shot.
Right.
And we're going to come out and we're calling that. And I'm going to call for so Monday, Martin Luther King Day, we have the big march that we've already been in planning for. We're still going to follow through with that. And now we're saying, community, turn your anger and your frustration and channel it. We're getting ready to take them on a ride. And it's not going to be breaking windows. It's not going to be slandering people. Exactly. We're going to take them on a ride because we're going to get this prosecutor appointed to this case. And that is what we're going to work on. We're going to channel our anger. We're going to channel our frustration towards stuff that is going to be results. And those in El Cajon that have been fighting, you'll come forth and you'll talk about what you all have been doing around the issues of the police reform in El Cajon and getting the Citizens Review Board. Yes. And now this will even push you further to get that. That it was suicide by cop. Okay. That this officer was threatened and he was fearful for his life. Okay. And this is why he had to make the move that he did.
And one thing
but what we're saying and what we're dealing with, Pastor, and I'll let you talk, is not just the incident itself, but what the protocol before the incident. This is a PERT team call. Yep. In the state of California. There's supposed to be some kind of clinical advisor there.
It's a PERT team.
Right, along with the officer.
Right.
When reaching somebody, the 3 phone calls, the 55 minutes of waiting before the officer could get there. So we're dealing with what is driving our driving force is not
expected that. Because this is I have been in the administration of civil service, and I know what how police always react in situations like that. That was their first statement when they made the first press conference.
So I think
they repeated the same thing. So I was
the protocol before that led to that led to this incident happening.
Okay. So you're saying improper protocol was followed, and because they did not follow the proper protocol, you can't call this a justified shooting.
And what Dominus was saying earlier, she even said that there was no policy in place to where the officers, one of them had one gun out, and the other one had a stun gun. She said there's no real policy to which they should follow, but officers have been doing their own thing and having one have the gun now. But if the way she was trying to make it seem like if an officer had the stun gun out at first, the other one had to have his lethal weapon out. But the lethal officer, but Gonzalez had the lethal gun out first, and the other one came on the scene with the taser next. So she was making it clear that there was no clear policy on what they should do.
I'll be at on my birthday. I'll be at the Robert Branch hearing, sheriff case.
I am disappointed because you see,
on my birthday,
it's a crime.
Thank you for making this available.
And I think it is not I don't think even the district attorney has fiduciary right. Fiduciary right. Fiduciary is a legal word. Fiduciary right to, not judiciary, fiduciary. Yeah, fiduciary right to make judgmental statement before the case has been thoroughly investigated. I think that was I don't think that is not proper. That's why I'm surprised. She should have made that decision because nobody knows.
Yeah, I know, but
Yeah.
One more thing, just quickly, because I know Dan's waiting. You said that you don't. Could you clarify this? You didn't. You say you don't have. You need the police. That you're not anti-police. But nobody should think that you're against the police.
Yeah. That is a very important point. Police are necessary in society. Eh? And when we talk like this, it doesn't mean, when I talk like this, doesn't mean we don't need police or people don't need police. We need police. But what we are against is the wrong way they are doing things. You know, every police in various parts of the world, we have what is called police procedure or standard procedure. That means the guiding principles are the police officers should do the policing. And I'm very sure America, being the leader of the free world, should have the same system in their police department. They should have procedures which police officers should follow. And if you fall out of that and you do something which is a crime and becomes personal, you are answerable for it personally, not as a police officer. There are different things, but here it is contradicting in the sense that you find that a police officer kills somebody and the police union comes behind and they try to cover everything and block everything. And this type of killing keeps on going on like this. When is it going to stop?